live stream Zoom that I don't have to go. They provided the third provider to YouTube and setting that up. Make sure it works, and it does, so I'm good. Okay, so we'll set up what's the rest of the semester. And Anastasia, you can be so kind and check on everybody to see if everybody is up and running. Okay, and is centered in the screen. So today is April 6th. So it's April 6th, April 8th, the 13th, the 15th, and the 20th. 5 sessions I have with you. April 22nd is what? Drew, what is April 22nd?
Our second exam.
Our second exam in person. So we have that already done. And then April 27th is what, Drew?
The final for the project.
Yeah, it's basically the 27th is the last day of class, plus it's when each group are going to present their final project. You'll be presenting your final project to me. It will be graded, and I will be giving you feedback on what I think should be having some improvements to it. After the 27th, before your official final exam in this class, you will have then made all the corrections you need, and then record via Zoom. Each group will record via Zoom as if you were presenting to a group of investors. Each person in your group will present, and also you'll have a short little slide deck, and in the last session of the slide deck will be what each person did in the project. And then you will also have a peer review among your peers of how well you did. So we don't have a lot of time to present. So that's what's left over. So I know a number of you are a little bit tired. It's almost like taking a too long of a break, but we almost have to get our second wind and get going. So I'm going to share my screen. And Drew, what do you see on my screen?
The YouTube live stream.
Perfect. Now you see the YouTube live stream, and I'm going to in this case, I'm going to go back to the what's due section. I go back to my what's due section, and I should have 2 parts that I have for you. I have what's due today that needs to be before class, which is what we were just talking about, the phone voice AI agent assignment. And you also had for today, you had chapter 10, which was information systems within the organization, your adaptive assignments, and your what we call ERP and information systems. I also have with you is a couple of miscellaneous readings that you need to do. This one right below here is my Docs VAPI that you had a quick introduction, and these are articles that you will read. Of course, for the second exam, I'll do the same thing as I did for the first exam. I'll give you a study guide. It'll be 2 parts. It'll be all the chapters that we covered since the second exam. Plus, I'm going to also add chapters 4 and 5 from the first exam, which I think are so important and so essential even for you to understand the second part. So that includes the security chapter and also the database. And if you see here, for instance, on the, let me open in a new tab. If you see, for instance, the voice AI agents, you'll see here that this is talking about the future of voice AI agents and the idea of conversational AI. And they basically talk about conversational AI, why is it important, what it can handle, text to speech, the use cases of voice AI, and telecom, also the advantages of voice agents. And if I go back, they also have for this other one on voice agents, which I think is a good idea. Everything you need to know, features, use case, and platforms. So when we think about a voice agent, basically we're thinking about software. And you know that a regular phone number of my mobile phone number doesn't have intelligent software available in the phone itself. I can go to the web and download, right? But that voice agent isn't involved right there. So basically, this talks about the difference between voice agents and what we call IVRs. IVR stands for interactive voice responses, and the interactive voice responses is rule-based. You all know that, right? You're in a hotel, it says press 1 for front desk, press 2 for concierge, press 3 for bellman, press 4 for reservations, and press 5 for billing. That, in that case, is just a rule-based phone system, but doesn't have much intelligence. All it does is will transfer you to a human being. Voice bots, they don't have, the traditional voice bots did not have a lot of intelligence, but these voice AI agents, like an example that we saw in VAPI, are built on advanced speech and natural language processing. We've seen this before, what they call the acronym NLP. What the idea is, what's interesting in the future is not only understands the language, but understands the intent. That's where it's trying to mimic our human brains. And basically what it can do then is a number of tasks that it can do on its own. It can also basically seamlessly transfer you to a human or transfer you to another agent. And basically, here's an example. They're talking about how people like conversations, like to talk. This seems to be the future of voice agents. And this, I suggest that you study. And Anna, when you think about it, the whole idea is this would be an excellent open-ended question about voice agents and how they work. And the way they work is we're going to it captures the user's voice. So just like Anna, when you presented your VAPI, it captured your voice. It did what they call automatic speech recognition, and then it went in and tried to process how is that in natural language. And then it usually makes a decision. A decision making is basically yes or no. Where do I make any task execution? How do I make it? And this is the key. In AI, what I want to see in artificial intelligence, different from just plain ordinary software, is it does continuous learning. It does continuous improvement. So remember, Anna, when I told you what is when you would ask your voice agent, how much do you charge for a campaign, a marketing campaign? I would want to train it when it didn't have the answer to say, I do not know. A lot of these large language models have trained them to be compliant and just answer and not say, I don't know. Remember, it's almost like students, right? You don't want to tell the professor, I don't know. Remember, I said, I want you to do is look it up. In this case, if they can't find the answer, I want to train it. I do not know, but let me get someone in the company that can answer that question. And for instance, if they could connect to Anna to come into the call, and then you could tell them, our first visit is free, and after that, it's negotiable, our campaign, based on your needs. Then I would want the agent to have that already put in continuous learning. So the next time someone called and said, how much do you charge? It would have the answer. And then it would convert text to speech and generating then a natural response. This is a flow chart of how AI voice agents work. And I'd like you to read through that. And when you read through that, notice it says here, Drew, enterprise. Do you see that, Drew? Enterprise grade AI agents. Drew, you hear
Yeah,
me?
I do.
Okay, what is an enterprise? We got to figure out. What do you think an enterprise is, Drew? When you hear enterprise?
Like well, I think of the car dealership or the
Okay,
car
basically
rental cars.
it's a large organization. It's not my mom and pop, just one person making pizza, right? And just selling the pizza, right? In a little mom and pop. It's an organization with many departments. So if you thought about even a dealership, that dealership could have many locations. And then it also could have financing. It could have new cars, used cars. Drew, what do we know as an enterprise? What do both me and you know that are a part of?
Miami.
Yeah, that's an enterprise. Why? Does it have a number of departments? Yes, it has. Just even within the business school, it has what? What major are you, Drew?
Economics.
Economics. It has finance. It has accounting. It has BTE. It has business law. It has marketing, right? All those are departments, and all of those were in the School of Business. Is that the only school the university has? No. It has what? The law school. It has arts and sciences. It has nursing, right? It has engineering. It has the medical school. It has basically the Rasmus of marine science. All of those together make up an enterprise. So the modern agents go further. They learn from historical call data. So if I called before and I filled out some form, that basically those large language models can do some reasoning and say, oh, you've called already, Dr. Rush. We have part of your questionnaire done. Let's finish up the second part. Because I said I didn't know my C number. So I go back. So one of the things that are great about these, when I ask what are the key features, it's multilingual. Here I would have to hire somebody, Drew, that would know Spanish, Creole, right? French, Italian. In this case, it can be multilingual, and they call it modal in the way that even VAPI, we didn't ask for it, but even VAPI, that platform, has it multimodal that it can answer. It doesn't even have to say if you want it in Spanish, press 7. Instead, it would, based on me responding in Spanish, it would answer me in Spanish. And so it can do, which is new here from other ones, is it can do sentimental analysis, meaning it can tell me, hey, do I have an angry customer? Do I have a happy customer? Based on the emotion, the urgency. If I'm in healthcare, my goodness, they sound like they're out of breath. And you can see here that this is a great article that tells you what are the type of top cases for voice agents. So what I suggest on today's readings, not only reading about ERP, which is enterprise resource, that you also read about voice agents here. Now for next week, which is next Monday, April 13th, you have your part 3 of your project. Your part 3 of your project you have, and also you have the readings of business analytics of chapter 12. And then you have these 2 articles that I'll spend some time on. One is called What is ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, and the other one is talking about AI technologies. And these readings will be part of to use to prepare for the open-ended questions. And we'll do a review, as I said, as we did last time, of a study guide and some open-ended questions that you can have beforehand to prepare. So what do I need to do? I have to go to the audit assignments. And under the audit assignments, let me make sure here. Let me turn this off so I see the same thing that you do. Under the audit assignments, I see that you have final project, part 3, progress site. So it's part 3, and in there you need to add and update your pages, create service offerings, make sure that you upgrade your domain name. In upgrading your domain name, you have to do it with the owner. You need to create your social media accounts and postings using AI as well. Implement your Notebook LM and record a podcast. And you remember we talked about a VAPI phone number that you individually did. You want to add your VAPI AI agent phone number to your website. So let's look at what's available there. And when I look at what's available there, any graphic that you present on your website, if it's generated by AI, I want you to put a small disclaimer or an attribute saying where it was generated by whom. And this is an issue you need to do. You need to create a separate page on your website for the apps, for a separate AI tool that you are teaching about based on your business model. So you'll include then a demo showing each AI tool you'll use for your services. And this requires at least 1 video per group member. So each group member will be graded on their video that they present, and make sure that it's professional. Make sure you introduce yourself at the beginning of each video. Make sure you make it as a tutorial. It should be less than 5 minutes, and explain to someone how they would use the tool, and give examples and show real world applications of the type of services that they would need. So if it's for small businesses, if it's for restaurants, if it's for companies that need marketing service, you're going to be showing them. If someone has not used the tool before watching the video, they should be able to understand how to use it after watching it. Also provide verbal pros and cons for each of your videos. You want to be looking objective. You're not selling the software per se, so they can rely on you for reliability and trust. And make sure you upload these videos to your website and check that you work. So each person, this was not clear, each person in your group has to do a different software program that you're going to be using as a service. You need to create a YouTube account. And the same videos you place on your website, you can place on your videos. You can put in even more videos on your YouTube account and include a YouTube click on button next to other social media buttons on your website. You need to upgrade your domain name. And after you upgrade your domain name, you can use within Wix, you have to do the SEO, search engine optimization. Under site and mobile apps, there'll be a place where it says website and SEO. Under the SEO, there will be a wizard in which you'll answer questions to. And once you finish the questions, you will checklist and connect this site to the Google Search Console. In the Google Search Console, this is where Google crawls your pages to make sure that you are listed and check to see if that you can find your site by searching these terms. Sometimes you have to wait 24 hours, so you want to do this early before next week. You'll have a create service page offering where you'll create at least 3 services, group training, individual consultations, webinars. You'll have a part, I like it, to put in the top of your website where you'll have a podcast of your company. So you'll generate your podcast off of your website's URL. Not only do your home page, but every separate page should also be added and tweaked. You can add additional spots, you can add additional social media, but you want to give it its most that they can create a podcast for you. You'll download it and convert it to MP3, and you'll add that podcast and upload it. You'll add the podcast and upload it to your podcast. You'll set the artist name to Google, the track number to Notebook LM. You'll also be able to upload an image, maybe your logo as cover art, and you can add text above the audio bot that says that the podcast is an AI podcast about your company. So each of these numbers here, you should assign a person in your group to be responsible for it. So if you just do for your company, just put in your picture and just put in your video, that is not enough. You don't want to be that one person does 10 and the other people are just putting up their picture and looking good. The other idea, we learned VAPI. So only one member of your group should create then a VAPI phone number. Here's a way in which this, we had a former guest speaker that created that shows you how to do this. And then basically you will then embed your VAPI into your website. And what's nice is instead of just saying, hi, this is Robert from XYZ company, it will have within your prompts, you'll be able to ask it about your team, who's on the team, who is, what are your services, and it will be able to answer those questions. And here, it basically, you'll have within VAPI, if you go all the way down, they give you some code to embed it into Wix as a widget, and then you apply it and you can also put the VAPI phone number. So when they click on it, they can talk to it. And also if someone wants to dial the number, they'll be able to do that. Each member is required to check the entire website is complete. All features work properly. If there are issues, you should help your group members. This is by group. Anastasia, my TA, any comments?
Nothing I think you didn't cover. I would just, as always, say don't put it off to the last second. I know there were groups last semester that waited until the very last second and ran into a lot of like troubleshooting issues that you can't fix within the last day or two before this is all due. So start as soon as you can, pace
Yeah.
yourself, and it's not a hard project, it just takes time.
Okay, great. And the other thing that I wanted to let me just make sure that you understand is that this is, let me just do this, it'd probably be easier. Anastasia, this is what I'm thinking about. Talking to other students that I got the idea. First of all, if you go to assignment groups, and you go to group 0, first of all, can I ask each group, somebody in the group, make sure your phone voice AI agent assignment is right after final project rather than at the end. When you created, a lot of people had it at the end, and it'll make it easier for the TAs just to look at the second one where you can see then the phone voice AI agent assignment. And then when you looked at group 0, final project, you can see that is done. Let me just go to the assignment. And in this case, when you see here on the group 0 on the very top, you'll be able to see here other final projects that were done. So these were done by other students from last semester. And if I look at one of the things, you can see right away. You see here where it says call our assistant Robert, it gives the phone number for the VAPI, right? And tells my mission, our job, it tells my team, and the podcast. Notice here it also has call Robert where it did this. I'd rather have the podcast than the call Robert here, but I like this. Do you see this, Drew? I like call Robert. Maybe I would also say maybe my AI agent rather than call Robert, call our agent, rather than them calling you, Drew, on your own phone number. You don't need to put your own personal number. And that's what's nice. It's a way in which to check for spam as well. And then you have the audio. You have the audio here. And then I'd like even sometimes to see it here, that you can see then these are examples, right? Where I have the apps and the tools. They were talking about Anastasia demonstrates how Jasper AI assists. So not only is there a video here that you can do, but says who is presenting it and what is it about. People don't like to click on links on videos if they don't know what it's about. So I like the idea of here where they're talking about what she's assisting and what is descriptions. You also can do videos, I think, of just even, Drew, of a possibility of how to create a voice AI agent using VAPI. And you can even say that you can provide that as a service, or you can teach them how to do it, and you can, and even how to integrate it into their website. So that could be a possibility, and also of how somebody can create a podcast. But this is nice that they have call our AI assistant Robert, have it done. You can see on other ones as well. Let me just see here. I had it already. So you can see here, they have their logo, they have their moniker, Reflect, Heal, and Grow. Already they have over here, listen to an overview of Reflect AI. And then they give it credit that it's Notebook LM, but they request it. And then they have it. And notice here on their videos, they have welcome to our guided tour of our videos. And they, in this case of how the tool is used, and then they have it by our CEO, Sophia, and how the tool is used explained by our CIO, Brendan, and by Carissa. So what I was thinking, Anastasia, my TA, is, you remember here on the group owner, Anastasia, I was thinking by Wednesday, maybe people should put also next to their name what their basically tasks they're going to do for the project. Like this may be then social media and basically AI agent or podcast. What do you think about that, Anastasia?
I'm not sure if that would be helpful because I remember with my group last year that we tended to split up every single role or that we would shift roles.
Okay.
Everyone kind of participated on everything.
Okay,
Because if
fine.
one
But
person
what I
does,
want to insist, and I don't know how to do that, and you can think about it, Anastasia. For Wednesday, I'd like to have maybe some kind of way in which people can report to you what we decided on who's going to be doing what, like the first degree of assignments. So let's think about it. You understand? So that's what I'd like to do because I don't want this to be delayed or that one person in the group said, since nobody's gotten back to me, I'm going to take over I'm going to be doing all the tasks because they're not doing anything. And then later on, somebody comes back and they say, well, I wanted to participate, but there was nothing to participate in.
we could ask the students to kind of do what you said to kind of divide up the work, but instead of just putting like one person does all the social media, that everyone's supposed to do the social media. So maybe one person writes specifically the Instagram or three
Okay.
posts per person. So just more
Okay, something like
specific.
that of what they're doing. Where do you want them to put it?
I can send out an announcement about this later,
Yeah,
but I
send
think
out
like
about an
making a
announcement. Let's
calendar.
talk about it, but I think it's important at least that we can keep track of it,
Okay.
and it helps people to get more organized as well.
Mhm.
And they can give you feedback on it. But I think this would be a great, opportunity with that. Any questions, comments? Drew, any comments from yourself?
No, all good.
Okay, so I think, Drew, what the conclusion is, if you look at those final projects, that's already what I want you to do by Monday is to have it and then keep on improving it. Because will it be perfect by next Monday? No, but everything will be covered and then we'll make improvements. And that, Drew, everybody in your group, you will be checking their work as well. So it may work for them and they called and it worked well, but when I call, I get an error message, or when I click the link, it doesn't work. So these are what I want for each group, is that by next Monday, you've gone through this, all the steps, you have it done. And then next week, on next Monday, we'll give each of you in your group will check it and say, how can I improve? For instance, you have content that's written by the AI. What I can say is first time around, it's not good enough. So there has to be several rounds that you're going to have to try to make it more succinct, make it sharper text that reflects what you're doing. And then what you can do is you can take it on besides this class. Questions? Any other comments? Okay. So the other part where I want to share with you if I go to what's due, I have when I look at it, yeah, I have something that's called what is ERP. So chapter 10, which you were supposed to read for today, is about information system. Really, the crux of the matter is enterprise resource planning. So let's open it up in a new tab. This is another open-ended, I think, question that would be good to talk about. And Drew, as we talked about before, right, an enterprise is an organization. It's a large organization with many different departments. And I have to plan all of my resources, and I can use software to streamline my business. And Drew, what's your major?
Economics.
Economics. So when I think about economics, and basically it's going to streamline starting from finance, HR, and in this case, Victoria, what does HR stand for? You know, Victoria?
I'm not sure actually.
Right, really? Who basically hires you in companies? What?
Human resource?
Right, it's human resources, right? So I have human resources, I have manufacturing, supply chain, my sales, and the key here is a unified view of activity. So Victoria, what's your major?
I'm finance.
Your finance. So if you were the CFO, let's say of the university, do you want to know overall how the university is doing, but what does the university have in terms of finance? It has basically what? You would want to know how the School of Business is doing, right, Victoria? Would you?
Sorry, my internet connection just cut out. What'd you
Okay.
say?
Would you want to know how the School of Business, if you were the CFO of the entire university, would you want to know how the School of Business is doing financially?
Yeah.
Right. And you could also have a CFO, you could have a finance officer in the School of Business, right? So the School of Business would want to know how all their departments are doing, right?
Yeah.
So they would have to be able to do that. You'd have to have like a global positioning to see it. And I would want to know, how well my undergraduate students are doing?
Yeah.
Right? I would have to know how well they were doing. Do I want my students, do I want to retain my students, you think? Or
Yeah.
I want to retain them. Why do I want to retain my students? They come for more than one semester, right?
Yeah.
Why do I want to retain them?
Because then they keep paying.
Right, they keep on paying. Plus, they would succeed. Plus, it'd be good for my university, right? It wouldn't be good for my ratings very well that that it has the reputation. People love the university for a semester and then leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you can think about this. So my enterprise resource planning came about. Why? It came about in order to see the entire company. And that entire enterprise is complicated. So I need software to help me view it. So where did it start? It basically, if I think about enlarging it, if I think about the history of ERP from this article, it started where? In finance and accounting. And then it basically did standalone application with finance and accounting, sales and purchasing and inventory. And then it basically added purchasing and inventory together. And then it expanded to CRM. There are all these acronyms, right, Drew? There's so many acronyms. So if you looked up CRM, Drew, you would see that it says customer relationship management. So basically, you can put it in that customer relation down that if you're a salesperson, Drew, you need to know about your customers and you want to keep track of who bought what should they buy in the future? What do I want with my customers? Keep them satisfied. And what do I want with my customers? If I were Drew, a car dealership, would I want to just sell them one car for their entire life?
No, you don't want to sell multiple cars.
Right, I want to sell it to their family, to their cousins, to their brothers, to their sisters, right? So I want to keep good connections with that and keep track of it. And notice here, Victoria, it says human resources. They're using the word rather than HR. Sometimes a lot of these articles they put in like everybody knows what HR is. Nobody's born with this, but it's human resources is the people that I have. And then you can see that it advanced to mobile devices, that I just don't want my software running on a mainframe or just my laptop. I want it to run also on my phone. I want to be able to get some alerts, some dashboards, and some that the customer sees something. And look, so I did the adoption of the internet, and then there was adoption of the cloud, right? We all know what the cloud is, right? Internet of Things. And the introduction of ML, which stands for machine learning, and the introduction of artificial intelligence. And notice now what is ERP trying to do? Adopt AI. Do generative AI, large language models. Look at this, AI agents, automated workflows, real-time insights, do predictions. And basically, if you think about it, there's software that enterprises, not individuals, but enterprise buy in order to do this. So one of the most popular software packages out there that are called ERP enterprise packages is called Workday. And if you ever work for the university, they use Workday for payroll. So Anastasia, you use Workday to do your payroll, right? For me, your hours worked?
Yes.
Right. So that is an enterprise. But what I love looking at these enterprise is they know what to sell. And what is amazing when I look at it, this Workday enterprise, what do you see here, Anna, right in the beginning? The leading enterprise, what? AI platform for higher education. What's a platform? It's a platform where you can go to. When we went to VAPI was an AI platform for voice agents. This is higher educations, right? They have played a new way of working, right? Building an agile frontline, but look at this, explore solutions, right? Empower your entire organization to reimagine how it works, how it gets done. And then what you see here, look at this, Victoria, HR. Elevate the potential of your people. Who are the people? The employees of the university. Boost productivity across the organization with human AI collaboration. Notice they just don't do AI because people in human resources, what do you think they're afraid of? Victoria, that they'll lose their job. So they make sure that they say, you're not, if you can buy this software, you're not going to lose your job. It's human AI collaboration, though I must admit some of them are going to lose it. And then it's human capital management, payroll, all of HR. Then there's finance, which a lot of you are majors of. So if I go to finance, what is it? Financial management, spend, all fun. Use AI to optimize transactions, deliver data-driven insights, generate value. IT, remember IT? Turn AI into ROI, which stands for return on investment, faster, deliver data cloud, IT solutions. Legal, even in the legal take control of your contracts, right? Into actionable insights. And guess what? They're putting into legal, they're putting their contracts, operations drive faster, smarter, and you know AI even wrote some of this, right? AI agents, look at this, it's funny. AI agents that understand work, and you can see here, are you ready for AI agents and actually act instead of just assist? So they have all these frontline agents, explore our agents, and they say all, workplace, and these are their companies that use it. So this is basically, you can think about their products. These are the industries, and you can see here that they're in the healthcare, hospitality, public services, and you can see in financial, insurance. And why? I'm in an industry. So if I'm in that industry that I want to do higher ed, look at that. Get the full picture of your institution. So if you were asked, what is ERP? It's getting the full picture of the enterprise, and one enterprise is our institution. How are you going to make it streamline the operations? For instance, if you have to register for a class, or streamline the operations where I have to order some equipment, and enable who? Success for whom? The students and faculty. So if I go to learn more, they basically are trying to say here, what do they want to do? Accelerate innovation and drive student success. So they say transfer your institution with trusted, because you remember we talked about trust, ERP, enterprise resource for higher education and student solutions. And basically, while keeping students at the center. And this sounds very much, and they have a little demo, and they have student solution forever for student, designed to stay ahead of the curve. So you're going to be talking and making a payment with this. Hello, Jennifer, make it useful, unlock productivity, elevate the student experience, make it easy to use, self-service interface, ensure students get the best possible experience. So what I like about looking at some of these are it brings to life the theory into what everybody's using. And just so you know that the University of Miami picked Workday, and what is it? Cloud-based. And it helps them, and they pick the module, which module? Higher education. So they can set it up where they can help the university, but all universities have the same issues, right? They have students, they have faculty, they have other employees, they have different departments. And what do they want to do? For the executive team, they want to give an overall picture to see where our revenue's going, what are our most profitable departments, schools. You remember I talked about the school of what's the most revenues for the university is the health center, is the health hospitals, right? The healthcare, right? All those operations, even though you think the, Coral Gables campus should be the most lucrative. And then you see, how are the housing doing? What are my revenue models there? To get the big picture, rather than I'm clueless on what's happening running a place. How do I distribute my payroll? Each employee then in human resources gets to see what are their benefits, if they're being paid properly. That's how it works. Anastasia, what else anything else you want to cover? Give last words of wisdom?
No, I think you covered everything.
Okay. So Wednesday, what I suggest you do by Wednesday is you meet with your groups beforehand, at least make all the assignments of who's going to be responsible when you're doing the social media, how you want to relate and doing it in the social media. You already want to be starting to populate already a number of the posts. You want to create already, start creating definitely your domain name should be first on the list. Make sure you have that. And populate it. Once you start populating more, then you can do a better podcast. and also among your VAPI as well. Any questions, comments? So let us know, stay with us if you're having any problems, any issues that you want me to address, you want your TA to address. And Anastasia, can you be so kind and put in the attendance code? Broadcast that. Okay. Put that in the chat. I think you can close that. I think if it's in the chat, everybody can see it. And stay with me if you have additional questions.
Dr. Ash, I was having an issue with the VAPI, like the phone number was not working.